after the pandemic, young people just can't afford any more lost days of education. So I want to understand what went wrong in this circumstance. I assume that a new offer was only made to teachers when the Cabinet Secretary was confident that it would be accepted. The Cabinet Secretary had waited weeks for that moment. So can the Cabinet Secretary explain what went wrong and why the situation was so badly misjudged?
Cabinet Secretary.
Well, I think what the Government has tried to do, along with our colleagues in local government, is to work to find a new offer that is fair and sustainable. And it needs to be fair, but it needs to be sustainable and affordable for government. So we set ourselves a challenge and set everybody else a challenge that we needed to find a compromise and we needed to find a new way forward. And that is what we have tried to do, to improve the offer for 22-23 and to suggest a way of working over a 2-year period. I am very disappointed that this wasn't taken to members, at least. I recognise that some of the other unions have done that, and I wait with interest to see what happens when that result comes back. But I think it is deeply disappointing that when we have all got to compromise in a situation like this in a pay dispute, the Government has attempted to do so. And it is unfortunate that we will not hear the voice of EIS members at this time.
Willie Rennie.
The relationship with the trade union EIS does seem to be deteriorating. I mean, there's no doubt that when the revised pay offer was made to the EIS, the BBC were told first. Why was that allowed to have happened? And secondly, the Cabinet Secretary criticised the EIS for not putting the latest pay offer to members. Is it the job of the Cabinet Secretary to tell union leaders how to do their job?
Cabinet Secretary.
Well, when it comes to members of the media knowing about what's happening in disputes, I think it is very difficult if we are getting to the point where it's not just Scottish Government but local government, COSLA, and particularly then all of council leaders starting to know what's happening in a negotiation, that some of that material comes into the public domain. That is deeply disappointing, and I don't think that helped anybody that that came into the public domain in the way that it did. We will continue to try and work very carefully with the trade unions. I wouldn't dream of telling trade union leadership or indeed trade union members what to do. I highly respect the mandate that the unions have and the right of a trade union to carry out industrial action. I simply say that at this point, when it's gone on for as long as it has, and when it is impacting on children and young people, particularly in the run-up to exams, it is disappointing that they've taken that decision. It's their right to take that decision, but I think it is disappointing because I think it would have helped everyone to gauge the feeling of that. But they have made that
Briefly,
decision.
Cabinet Secretary.
And as I said within my original reply, the talks are ongoing this week to see if we can come to a resolution.